Hi, I'm Professor Emily Donato. I'm an assistant professor here in the School of Nursing at Laurentian University, and I have been a preceptor to third-year students in a faith-based community practice initiative that we just started this year.
So my name is Christina Skokie. I am a registered nurse and I work for Laurentian Online, which is part of Laurentian University's Center for Academic Excellence.
My name is Jamie Zitter. I was part of the Student Exploration of Infertility in Northern Ontario, and my community was just Greater Sudbury. And I'm a third-year student at Laurentian in nursing.
I'm Melissa Cherry. I'm a third-year nursing student at Laurentian University, and I worked on the Health and Community Services project on Laurentian campus.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle Beaulieu. I'm a fourth-year nursing student at Laurentian University. I worked on a project with Christina Skokie and Melissa Cherry. The project aim was to make community and health services more accessible to students at Laurentian University.
I didn't know a lot about community health coming into third year, as we didn't really have much experience with it throughout the program until now. So it was more just like public health, like flu shots and things like that. So a research aspect of it was really interesting to have as a project and placement.
My preconceptions about community health nursing had to do with just thinking of there always being a client and you working directly with the client, working in clinics, working in centers, just working directly with the client and caring for them.
I viewed community health nursing in a more traditional way, meaning nurses connecting with clients in their homes to help with their immediate health needs.
So as a nursing professor in the community course, which deals with the nursing practice in the community second semester of third year, I had always been interested in the parish nursing aspect, or faith-based nursing as we are referring to it. And we do one class, a partial class on faith-based nursing. It's always been an interest of mine. So in the role of the preceptor, having this quite a new initiative, the students were actually placed with me, and that actually alleviated the church and the responsibility of the parish nurse to actually be preceptoring. So as far as providing the students with some literature, initial literature and organizations that they needed to learn about regarding parish nursing and faith-based nursing, we started that off with as a preceptorship with myself. And we would then also meet with the parish nurse, meet with the health council on a regular basis, monthly basis, to determine the needs and what they wanted us to do. So we took a very much a certain approach using the socio-ecological model, where we actually looked at the needs of the church through various areas and dimensions. Received a phone call from one of the parishes in town. In fact, the only parish that does have a parish nurse in the north here. And they were asking for assistance from students to assist with some blood pressure clinics, which occur once a month at the parish. In speaking to the health council chair, when they got back to them, they were quite interested in having students and also perhaps going further and working to do health fairs and perhaps other things. Assessment in the first semester. Second semester, we actually did not have an opportunity to hold a health fair because of logistics, but we were able to do for February a Heart Health Month display during one of the blood pressure clinics that occurred both days after masses on Saturday and Sunday. So I really mentored them with how to actually do a literature review, gave them a lot of feedback, really let them take the lead. In fact, when we created the rest of the document, the paper, I pulled it together with the lit review and then what we were doing with the theoretical framework, the sociological model, and how we were approaching the parish with the project that we were doing this year. So we actually were able to put that into a paper format. I really let them take the lead. In fact, they did the majority of the speaking at the conference, so they got experience presenting a paper. We now have the paper submitted for peer review for publication, so they find that that's pretty exciting. So I'm really trying to mentor them in those other skills that they're learning in third year.
One of the things that does concern me is the health of my students that are enrolled in the post-RN program. To me, that is the piece of community nursing that I do for Laurentian Online. And so within my role, I'm always looking at fulfilling identified needs from the students here at LU. So not only online, but on campus as well, because I do participate in the Welcome Week activities. So within my role as a preceptor, it was to find a project that these students could effectively or complete within a short time period. I was a preceptor for 2 third-year nursing students, and I tasked them with participating in Laurentian University's Orientation Week activities for new and returning students. And so they created the project accessing healthcare services, and actually not only healthcare services, but community services along the 2 major bus routes in the city. I guided them. So I provided guidance in the project, and I introduced them to key stakeholders across campus that would be able to help them fulfill their objective. So I introduced them to our instructional design team, which then introduced them to the Google tools to create the Google map. I introduced them to our marketing department.
First semester, I ended up creating a report, essentially, of all of the information. And then second semester, I presented at a conference of the Faculty of Health conference here in Sudbury. And then I ended up creating a project fair, so for everyone who had placements at Laurentian, they were invited to participate.
So Christina, she was my preceptor, and Gabrielle, she was my colleague. We worked together a lot on the project and on our research. I also had a faculty advisor, and they facilitated my learning and helped guide me in what I was doing. We also worked on collaboration a lot with the CAE, with the students, with each other, and we also worked on building networks by going around to the different services on campus and actually telling them about our project and what our purpose was, and then asking them for feedback and asking them for support.
At this placement, I also wanted to increase my research abilities and become more comfortable coding research and finding articles related to a specific topic. On campus, I found a lot of really great resources. For my learning, this included the counseling services and student services.
I think sometimes, it would be nice to have more time, and I tried to build that in. Sometimes scheduling, depending on the students' classes and other courses they're doing, is challenging. Some of the benefits are definitely, having been a course professor and done precepting before, I've always enjoyed it because I enjoy the one-on-one with the students. I enjoy being able to kind of help them link the theory, the stuff we're doing in class, in with, okay, now we're actually going to do this. We're going to go do some of this assessment. And I think it really opens them up to realizing, okay, this is like actually for real. This isn't just something we talk about out of the book or in class. Plans underway to return next year. One of the students is interested in returning for her 4th year placement. And some 3rd year students are hopefully going to join us because they do want us to look into doing the health fair in the fall and potentially running a clinic on a weekly or maybe bi-weekly basis. So there's a lot of evolving going on, which is kind of exciting. So we're just looking at the next phase and the next step of what that can look like.
I do work on a lot of big projects, so sometimes the challenge is to be able to pick a little piece for them to work on. Other challenges are time. It does take time to orientate students to your role, especially when you have a very unique role. And usually when we think of community nursing, we're thinking of a population such as the elderly or maternal or children and things and so forth. Within my role, sometimes the students have a hard time understanding that students themselves are a population. The benefits is, again, just seeing the wonderful projects that they complete and getting stuff from their point of view. And For me, it helps me move forward and it helps me better understand my population.
So I found having a lot of independence for this project, just because it was a lot of research so I could go at my own pace, was really helpful. And just having like the support of Heather and the faculty advisor just for guidance, which I found really helpful.
I think one of the biggest challenges I experienced in the learning was I felt really disconnected from my target population. That target population is French distance nursing students. So it's a distance piece. We never communicated face-to-face with that specific population. So my partner and I had to make a decision when coming to terms with our community project we wanted to complete is, well, they're at a distance and typically they're older students. So we wanted to change our target population to benefit the Laurentian University students, and we wanted to target all Laurentian University students. Once we realized that we were able to use Google Maps to create an interactive map, it really all came together and we were able to present the services. And we were also able to work in bus routes, knowing that many students on campus might not have access to a car, and we wanted to make the map inclusive to as many people as we could.
Just seeing the growth and seeing, being able to have more of the one-on-one with the students and mentoring them and getting to know them as well, and kind of getting to know their strengths and weaknesses and being able to kind of mentor them and help them out in different areas. I think I really, really enjoy that. So I always enjoy precepting the students as well as, teaching the larger classes.
Often when we're working within a role, we get blinded by certain things because we're so focused on certain tasks that sometimes we can miss different needs that students see and can identify.
I think my take home is just that community health isn't exactly what we think it is at first sight, just because there's so many different aspects, just because there's so many different types of nursing as well. So I think just learning more about community health and how in-depth it is and how different it is from acute health, I think that whether or not I decide to do it in the future, I think it's just important for everyone to understand that community nursing is different and that there's a lot of different aspects to it.
What I learned about through this project was just the wide variety of roles for a community health nurse, that you're not always working directly with the clients, but you still have clients to care for and look out for and advocate for, and that it's not always in a center or in a clinic and you're not but that we still had clients. We knew that the clients were the LU students, and that was our main focus, was working with them.
That really kind of created a great learning opportunity for me, in that it reminded me as a future nurse that the services I offer to my clients, they need to be accessible and they need to be relevant to them. In my placement, I realized that community health nursing is much more involved and holistic, and there's many different avenues that nurses can go into in the community.
I think that you really need to keep an open mind. I think that the real key is to find out what's going on in their other courses. If you're precepting a second year student or a third year student, well, usually it's mostly a third year or fourth year at this point in the curriculum, it really helps to understand what's going on in the other courses, to help them to tie in those skills and to get them into doing projects that actually incorporate all the skills that they're learning, because then they do see how things kind of...
I encourage preceptors to truly evaluate whether or not they have the time to preceptor a student. It can be very time consuming, and to be careful that you don't overwhelm the students and give them a project that's too big. And if you can, give them a project where they will see results, because then the students can feel validated and motivated, especially if they're third year students that are going into fourth year and they're going to have to do more community placements. Then they know that they have made a difference in the past, and it'll give them motivation and engagement to continue with community nursing.
I would just say, just be open to learning, just be open to trying new things. I was nervous about going to the meetings, I was nervous about meeting these people, but it was very beneficial for me. I also was nervous going into the placement to begin with, because it's not a regular community placement, but I really enjoyed it, and it was really, I learned a lot about working with people, about collaboration, about communication, and technology was very beneficial for me.
To the future nursing students going into their first community placement, I just want you to remember that even if you don't receive a community placement that is your traditional idea of community health nursing, really find any opportunity you can to learn from your preceptor, because they have a lot of knowledge and they're really an amazing asset. And you might not be in a traditional placement, but there's a lot of learning that can happen, and you're going to come out knowing a ton of different knowledge than maybe you would have in a traditional nursing placement.
And well, I appreciate Heather for taking this initiative forward and presenting some of the really neat stuff the students did this year. I think something like this faith-based community nursing project can really expand and provide also placements to other students in the program.
I particularly adored this project just because we've seen results. We've been able to evaluate whether or not students are using it. Most of the projects I've done in the past with students were just conference presentations. But this one in particular, we were able to look at the analytics, see that students are indeed using the map, and seeing the cards all over campus and seeing them in students' hands and seeing students taking pictures of the QR code to access the map has been really validating for myself. And these students really went above and beyond.
Thank you for being a wonderful preceptor. I really enjoyed it, and I appreciate all of your support and your faith in me for having a lot of independence for this project. I think that that's definitely something that helped us both, and just the support that I had from you was really, really great. So thank you.
I would just like to say that the placement was enjoyable, and people were kind of concerned that I wouldn't get the right skills and knowledge from this placement, but I really think I did. And even though I didn't work on acute care skills, I did still work on all the other skills that are necessary for being a nurse, working with people and working with teams. Working with Christina and Gabriella was great, and we had such a wonderful time, and we really learned how to collaborate and use technology to our benefit.
I'd also like to thank Heather, my professor, for choosing our project and wanting to further talk about it. And I'm really excited about our project, and I'm thankful that you are as well.